welcome to this week's episode of Sunny Silver Linings. I'm excited to be your moderator today. My name is Kam and Kaila, and with us today is my sister, Sunny Kaila, your host of this podcast, and Jake Spanberger. Jake, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Okay. All right. So my name is Jake Spanberger. I'm in Southwest Florida. Fort Myers is where our home office is, but we also have an office in Bradenton, and we also work in Naples as well. So the entire Southwest coast of Florida. I've got a beautiful wife, two great kids, 6 and 5 years old now, Stella and Cece. And I'm just really excited to be here with you guys. And quite frankly, if I may veer off track a little bit, I want to just talk very briefly about our relationship, because we have known each other for how long? At least 10 years, right?
Before you had babies, we've known you.
Before I had babies, that's right. I mean, we've known each other for a long time, and it's just an honor. I think of one of the things that I've learned over the course of I've been doing this for my entire adult career. I've only done Entech is my baby. It's my only thing. My stepfather started it, and I came out of college and just been doing this MSP thing for all that time. Anyway, so one thing that my stepfather taught me is if you do good business, good things happen to you. If you do good things happen. The golden rule, right? And I will never forget, when I think of the two of you, I think of two things. First, in 2013, my 7-month-old pregnant wife and I were in New Jersey for a wedding, and you guys, or Sunny, drove out 2 hours to pick us up just to have lunch that you made, Kam, for the two of us, and then drove us 2 hours back to where we were. That's the first thing. The second thing I think of is when we were in Colorado and we were going to a baseball game, and we were in 8 lanes of traffic, and we were in the far left lane, and Sunny noticed a person passed out on the side of the road, and he veered through traffic to go and help that person who was laying on the side of the road, just because that's what he is. He was so focused on helping that person, and that just is the perfect description of the two of you, just ultra caring, giving people who I am honored to call my friends.
Aw. Well, thank you, Jake. Aw, how do we put that up, Sunster? Now you have to say some nice things about Jake.
You don't have to.
I truly appreciate our friendship, Jake. And I now, you're talking about this now, I remember that instance, but I totally forgot about that. And yeah, thank you for remembering that, and thank you for noticing that. And we truly appreciate your friendship, and it's just so pure. And I know first time we met through the peer group many years ago, and few people that you always want to stay close to. You want those individuals to be around you because they are good human beings. And no matter you do business, you don't do business, but it's just that energy that you get, positivity that you get because of those individuals around you. And you are at the top of my list, man. Whenever I think people that I want to keep in my first trust circle, friends circle, and your name is always at the top. And I truly appreciate our friendship.
Thank you.
I veer in and out of that circle sometimes. It depends on the day. But we truly rely on you. And thank you, Jake. And we forgot to mention, Jake, you're from Entech, is the name of your MSP in Florida. You guys do extremely well, and we consider you a very good friend of ours. And so thank you for joining us for Silver Linings. And today we're all about culture, and how both of you have built your businesses and really fostered the strong culture that makes it, as successful as it is, but also helps you with your growth and your vision. And so we had a couple of really good questions for you guys that we pulled out, just, a couple of ones that will be teasers, but we definitely wanted to ask you about how you fostered that strong culture within your organizations. So the first question I have in Silver Linings today is, what do you take the most pride in as an owner of your organization? Jake.
Me first? Okay. So I think of two things. So we've grown from where it was just my stepfather and I, and then about a year later, we hired our first employee, or very first, one of our first employees happened to be my college best friend, Buddy. And he's pretty well known in the MSP industry. And today we're nearing 40 employees. And that was 19 years ago. So today we have about almost 40 employees. And today, as much as it was 19 years ago, he's still my best friend. But we were best man in each other's wedding. And ultimately, it's the culture. We have a culture of friendship and family, and it starts there. So I take great pride in the fact that I get to go into work every day and just enjoy myself and get to, we just have a good time because it's a culture of friendship. The second thing that I take great pride in is the fact that we have a culture of providing opportunity for people to do what matters. Our byline and things that we talk about all the time with our people is enabling people to do what matters. And we have had the luxury and the ability to really have some really great people come and work with us or work for us, who just take the bull by the horns and have just excelled. And so whether it be our people enabling them to do what matters, whether it's in the community or whether it's really advancing their careers, or it's our community and being able to support the nonprofit community in our area and helping them achieve their mission. So those two things, to me, it's really, as you grow in size, you really get to allow yourself to focus and perpetuate culture, both internally and externally, and being able to live by the mantra that, give a man a fish, they'll eat for a day, and teach a man to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime. And that's kind of, I take great pride in seeing that happen in Entech.
It's wonderful. And what about you, Sunster? What do you take the most pride in? And you can't say not killing my wife while working with her for 17 years. Because I know that may be top of your list. It is something to be proud of. But what else?
Yeah, no, I love working with you, Kam, and you complete me. We can't do things that we do without you. And you are so critical to our mission and where we are today. There's no possible way to do it without you. So thank you. So let me start with
Happy birthday.
Yeah. So, so what Jake was saying in terms of people, culture, and that's what I love about Jake and Entech, the way he's leading, the way Entech, is kind of leading. Leaders are leading, and what they do for their customers. There are not too many MSP partners that I see where their culture is so strong, and it's just it's a high growth mindset, and at the same time, culture is very, very strong, and the customer service is very, very strong. And that's because I know majority of people at Entech, because of our friendship and everyone, like from David to Buddy and everyone, good people, and they always do the right thing for their people and for their customers. So Kam, at IT by Design, we talk about power of people. What I'm so proud of is our culture and the way we lead employee first, our ITBD community members first, because we really, really believe in that mantra that if our people are happy, they're going to make our customers happy. If we as leaders serve them, add value to them, and they grow with us, they're going to do everything possible to serve our client, our partners, community, and growth will automatically happen. So the way we lead our philosophy towards business, that's what I'm so proud of.
Now, you both mentioned values, and I know we're all very strong on our core values. So talk to me a little bit about your core values or our organization's core values, and how did you come up with them? And why are those your values? You're up first, Jake.
Yeah, so I think it was an interesting exercise. We are a strategic minded organization. We subscribe to different strategy mentalities and mantras and really, quite frankly, organizations. So we're an EOS organization. So traction, we follow that. But before that, we participated in StratOp and that, just like you guys. But even before that, we knew we needed to define our core values, because it's really what unites everybody together. So we've actually had our core values modified from the transition from a StratOp organization to an EOS organization. But the definition, actually, the hardest part was coming up with the words. But if they're the right core values, you just feel them, to your bones. And you can go back to, I can go back to when it was just Martin and I, or Martin and myself and Buddy, or my stepfather, and just know that that's what we're all about. So, and so they can't be aspirational. They can't be, I wish we would be like this. And if by defining this, we're going to end up this way. It can't be. It's who you are. So the definition, whether you're a 2-person, 3-person, 4-person organization, you just need to know who you are as an organization and as a person and your core. And then that helps you define it. And from that point forward, you just constantly are focused on them. So, I could go into ours, but they're very meaningful to us. And they're a part of our everyday life. And everybody knows that if you work at Entech.
Yeah. And that's great. The process and the exercise of going through it now. So at IT by Design, we're happy, right, Sunster? Those are our core values.
Yeah. So our core values are happy is our acronym. It's humility, accountability, positivity, passion, and your community. And so, Kam, as far as the process is concerned, we involved our cross-functional leaders. As you know, we did this, revisited our core values last year as well. And it was more bringing everyone together during our annual strategy session. And first time when we did it, it started with you and me, Kam, we writing down our personal core values, and then involving few key leaders, like what are their personal core values. And as part of a StratOp process and EOS process, because we use a hybrid model, we involved our leaders, and then we had a voting system to eliminate, because there were a lot of words there on the whiteboard, and then we had to eliminate some to pick 5 core values. And we are very intentional about preaching, practicing, and every day learning how to do better. And we pick a core value of the week, as you know, and it's not just something for the marketing department or our website or our wall. We are every day living these core values, recognizing, rewarding people, having a core value focus of the week, and everything that happens is around core values. Even with the customers, it's so important for us to only work with people where they are well aligned with our core values and our culture.
Now, you mentioned this is version 2.0, and so did Jake. We came up with an original set of core values, and then we modified the core values as we as an organization evolved. And I think we also, all of us, learned permission to play, core values from Patrick Lencioni, and all of these other things that we're learning as we're evolving. But how important was it for you, Jake, to take version 1.0 and really transform it into version 2.0? And what would you say really made you make that switch? And are they that different?
No, they're really the same, quite frankly. I mean, they're almost the same. So we also had an acronym, and it's called ITUFT, and ITUFT is just integrity, team, understanding, fun, trust, and then we, as we were doing it, that was David, Buddy, and I, the partners, partners in the business, came up with those. And then when we expanded our leadership team, we thought it would be best to revisit those, especially because integrity and trust are so critical to what we do. But if we can't trust somebody, I mean, that's permission to play right there. I mean, it's like, why are you even here if we can't trust you? But what I can tell you is ITUF still lives today at Entech. We have a ITUF Teams channel that if anyone does anything great that perpetuates our core values, we can acknowledge them there, or they can acknowledge their team members. And that's how one of the ways that we perpetuate our culture is, we probably get, 3 or 4 ITUF recognitions a week. And we didn't want to let that go away. But at the same time, when we expanded our leadership team, we wanted to shorten them. So we went from ITUFT, and now we just have 4 core values. We do what's right. We win as a team. We figure it out, and we continually improve. And ITUFT is actually inside of all of those 4 core values. So I can go and I can reference those too. So one of the things that I do is I haven't hired a person at Entech probably at least in 5 or maybe 10 years personally. I haven't hired anyone. Our team hires people. But one of the things that I've learned, that we've learned along the way, and especially going through StratOp, is giving our people perspective on who we are and why we are and where we've come from and our history is so critical to them understanding why enabling people to do what matters and understanding our core values. So anytime we hire anybody, within a few weeks, they have to go through what we have termed the Kool-Aid talk. And that Kool-Aid talk is either a one-on-one or a 2-on-1 with me. And I go through our entire history. We talk about our core values. I make sure they understand who we are as a company, why we're here. And then we talk about those core values. So transitioning from ITUFT to our current core values today was just part of expanding our leadership team and further defining what each of those 3 things mean, or 4 things mean, for everyone who comes on board.
Now, you said defining, and that's really important, right? Sunny, we've defined in version 2.0, we went through the process of actually defining the values. Now, why is that so important, Sunny? And why do we use our values as part of our hiring process?
Yeah, so it's so important to bring clarity to the team what that word means, because you can have, you can kind of the context of that word. So, for example, if it's humility, right? So you want to make sure that what it means for us, and so defining those core values, give a little bit more context to people, a little bit more clarity to people, that what it means, and it makes it easier for them to live that core value and make it relevant and relatable to your corporate culture.
And use those values for our hiring process as well, right, Sunny?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hiring is, yes, if you don't know what good looks like in terms of your value system, you cannot hire people. I mean, how would you assess, right? You don't even know what to look for. So for hiring process, having those core values and making sure that the hiring process is so strong that you do everything possible. If it takes 10 interviews, 15 interviews, I know our recruiters sometimes get really frustrated with number of interviews we do, but that's so critical, because you cannot just have 10 minutes, 30 minutes conversation and get to know about who that person is from the value system perspective or values perspective. So we take our time, and Kam, for the final interview here in Jersey City, if the person is remote and if everything else is a check from reference to everything else, we have that person come here to our Jersey City office. And if the person is local, taking that person, for example, to lunch, spending as much time as possible just to understand who that person is. And because skills, competencies, other things are easy to develop if that person is well aligned with the core values. And in our case, if positivity, for example, if no matter how good that salesperson is or CTO is, or the technical person, how technical they are, if they are not positive, we know they're going to bring negativity to the team. They will perform well in a salesperson example, but they're going to keep the team morale, their energy that you need to have a high performing team, highly collaborative team. So it's so important to make sure that the hiring process is defined and executed in a way that you do everything possible to bring only people that are well aligned with your core values.
Yeah, we pretty much.
Can I add to that, Kam, really quick, as far as defining it, and that makes it a little. So when we had iTuft, it was just iTuft. It was 5 words, and the problem with that is if we're not constantly talking about each definition, the definitions kind of veer off. So one of the words is understanding, and understanding can mean a myriad of things. And so by defining everything completely to some extent, you can really make sure that every hiring manager doesn't, or any person for that matter, really is focused on that. So understanding now falls under what our new core value of do what's right. And under that is we seek to understand. Technology frustrates people. If we use empathy and take the high road with every situation we face, we will always come out on top. That is the definition of that under the core values. And therefore, there's really no lack of clarity for anyone in our organization if they take this, our core values document, our speech, if you will, and really live by it, and they can actually reference it even when I'm not around or anyone else that isn't around to clarify it for them.
Now, quick question. So you talk about using the core values when you're hiring. What about after the fact? Do you use it in performance reviews, annual reviews? Is it a sort of like a one and done, or are we, how do you reinforce these values with some measurable criteria? Jake.
Yeah, it's interesting. A core value isn't a core value unless it's measurable, right? You have to be able to measure it, right? So, one of the beauties of the EOS traction process is, the quarterly conversations and the people analyzer, and that's where your core values inside those tools, inside the specific operating system, business operating system, if you will, is making sure that people live up to those core values. What do we, specifically do it? How do we celebrate success, if you will? I told you about our iTuft channel and teams. So being able to give people the opportunity to empower them to recognize each other for living our core values or doing a really great job. We used to have what we called iTuft coins, where a person could then give a coin, a physical coin, to another person if they really went out of their way to help them. So those are just a couple of the ways, but really inside the tool of EOS or any really strategic operating system will have references to those core values, and it gives you the ability to know if someone's falling short of one, and gives that person insight into whether they're falling short on any sort of the things that make them successful, of which our core values is the ultimate guidance of success for everybody.
Now, Sunny, quick question off of that. Are there any values that are sort of, maybe you hired someone and they aligned with your values, or you thought that they did, and then maybe 1 month or 1 quarter goes by and 2 quarters go by, and all of a sudden you start to see they're going from a plus in positivity down to maybe a plus minus in positivity? are there any values or how would you deal with that when you start to see that while they may have been up here, now you're starting to see that they're not really a plus in that value anymore?
Yes. So can we start with understanding why of that decline, and why if the person was always plus in that core value, in this example positivity, if there's what's going on in that person's personal life, professional life, where are they in terms of their state of mind, why that is happening. So understanding why as a leader is so critical, and that for that to happen, you need to make sure that you create safe space for your people, and understanding. And if it's just one of those things, and we all have our our days, or our when we go through some tough time personally or professionally, then it can impact us, right? We're human beings at the end of the day. And if it's something is happening where we can support the person, that's what we need to do. But coming back to your point in terms of performance management, so we have plus, minus, and plus minus. And there is a 3-strike rule. We do quarterly reviews in our performance management system, and that's where, using the 5-5-5 process from EOS, we have one section where we, using the people analyzer, we do the evaluation of core values. If someone is negative, that's not acceptable. If it's plus minus, we understand that we are not perfect, and we cannot expect perfection from other people, as long as they are intentional about moving towards bigger plus or plus. That's what we are expecting during those feedback sessions. We give that feedback, and if someone is negative, it's always minus. So plus is always exhibiting that core value. Plus minus is sometimes or maybe, and then minus is never there. And that's where so when there's something negative, that's where we give feedback with the proper timeline around that, and we want the person to improve, at least move that to plus minus. And if the minus stays there for 3 warnings or 3 feedback sessions, then we know that it's going to be a constant struggle, and it's just that person's natural wiring. And that's where we start working with the person to see what would be the best next step for that person.
Now, speaking of that, off the cuff, you find out that, okay, we're heading in the downward spiral of plus minus to minus. How do you deal with that, Jake?
It's funny because the hardest thing with growth, one of the hardest things with growth is intentionality. And our cure to intentionality is transparency, right? And having the ability, you guys are a pure EOS organization, 5-5-5, plus, minus, plus, all those, and we are too. And the hardest thing, or I remember when we were smaller, we're in October, and normally before EOS or before we had this level of consistency, we'd be like, oh God, we got to do reviews. I don't want to do reviews this year. And then all of a sudden a year go by and you do reviews again, and then you'd be like, oh, I want to do reviews. And it's the hardest thing to do, because generally reviews equate to crucial conversations, which also are someone expecting a pay raise or something along those lines. We've removed, pay raises from our reviews and from our quarterly conversations. But the beauty of quarterly conversations is it's a very relatively quick conversation, but it's an intentional conversation where those types of, where anything can come out, where you're not just talking about, oh, did you fix this today? Did you fix that today? It's actually having a conversation, because what, like you said, is how do you adjust their attitude, performance level? it ultimately becomes a self-selection process, right? If they know that they're not meeting if they're falling below that barrier, they're going to know that their time is not short. Their time is short, and that either they're going to start looking for another job or they're going to correct it, because you can't just keep on having the same conversations over and over again. So the beauty of a tool like EOS and that we're talking about right now is that it gives you the consistency to continue to have those conversations that are so challenging to have. And the beauty of having a leadership team is you challenge each other, right, and make sure that you're all on the same page, and you're having those. And then one person is doing these conversations and another isn't. Everyone's doing them, or else you're going to get that sense of urgency amongst the team.
Okay, I'm going to switch it up now. How do you celebrate success? We've talked about the ones of coaching up, but what about success? How do you guys celebrate it within your organizations? How do you lift your teams up? Because everybody knows we need to keep them lifted up. How do you do that? Sunster, you're up.
So thank you for the question. A couple of years ago, we learned the power of celebrations. But prior to that, it was like a go, and you just don't have time to celebrate with the team. And personally, I did not realize the value or did not realize the impact. And when I was a little bit more intentional about improving there, things, I mean, it's just so impactful when you share that, when you celebrate that success with the team. And came the way, a few things that we started doing, whenever we take rocks, our quarterly rocks, and we do our quarterly strategy session, that's when it's celebration time. But we don't wait for quarter or year to end to celebrate that victory with the team. We are doing almost on a daily basis now with the bonusly. So we systemize that entire program, and in the morning coffee with the community huddles and our department level, L10 level meetings, we start with our positivity and celebrations. If there's any win that team wants to share before they start their morning huddle or weekly call, we start with those wins and we celebrate. And then we do the happy hours, do a lot of those community events that we do to just celebrate our success, team success. And so just finding opportunities where we can celebrate that success with the team, and also being very intentional about always starting our days with that gratitude that what our team is doing to make a difference in the community that we're building.
So we have a couple of different things, right? We have Coffee with Community, which is a morning chit chat that we do where we actually give kudos to people, and we look for different departments and different teams and different leaders to recognize people. We do it on our weekly newsletter. And then you've also started the gratitude challenge within the organization. And that's a separate podcast. We're not going to start on that right now because I want people to tune in for the next one where we're going to only talk about the gratitude challenge. And I know Jake's going to tune in for that one. But we've started the gratitude challenge. Those are just a few of the things that we're doing here at ITBD. What are you doing at Entech, Jake, to help motivate and really keep your team cheering along, Mr. Cheerleader? Go Gators.
That's kind of become my role, quite frankly, is the culture person and making sure that we are constantly reminded of why we're doing this. And I'm going to skip to this part, but like one of the things that we've lived by kind of, and one of the things that Buddy talks about is this thing called an engagement pyramid. And it's kind of it's like what drives our employees and any employee for that matter. And it starts with compensation, and then recognition is second. And then meaning is like the top of the pyramid. Like they don't have meaning, then it's really no point. And they're probably going to be, looking for some other job that provides them meaning. So that's ultimately why I talked about our iTough coins. And that's the recognition side. Our iTough channel is just, it's become a thing of its own, right? It's people just post stuff in there, whenever something is great. We also do profit sharing at Entech too. So if, when we have a great quarter, we're very transparent with our entire team, which is also a very challenging thing to start. But once you're transparent with everybody, people have just a different appreciation for what the term profit is. And when they ultimately can share in those profits and the success of a good job, it's more meaning for them. But also ultimately, like I said, if we get towards the top of that funnel of meaning, one of the things that we did last month technically was I received an amazing letter from one of our nonprofit partners, and I asked her to come in and talk to our staff to really talk about what we did for this particular client during when the pandemic started. And she was just so grateful for our staff and to have our team really realize that, yeah, we're in IT, but IT means something to organizations. And she said, we would have been lost without you. And so that meaning feeds not only into our people that they're doing something that's good, but it's really the bigger purpose. She's a community member. She supports children in a particular area that we live in. And for her to come and say, we couldn't have done our job without you, thank you, really made a difference. And really, it really drove home our enabling people to do what matters. Okay, so last question, because I know we're running out of time. What is your favorite tradition at Entech and at ITBD that you just love, that you have it as part of your organization and you really think it really helps define what you guys are? You're up, Jake. Okay. So I'm gonna give you two very quick ones because I think one is becoming one. First is we have a chili cook-off every year. Our end of the year party is a chili cook-off, and everyone brings in their favorite chili, and there's just a big thing around it. Everyone names their chili something funny, and it just becomes a thing for our employees and their families to all come together and really celebrate the year. And ultimately there's a winner, and it just becomes it becomes this buildup throughout the year of just fun, right? And that's one of our core values: win as a team and winning is fun. And secondly, and it's becoming a tradition because it's so. And it wasn't anything that I created, which makes it even better. It wasn't I didn't even approve it, quite frankly, is one of our team members decided that as in the effort of one of our core values, continually improve, is we're doing weekly training sessions on Friday at noon. And they're everything from the inner workings of whatever backup system we're using to what one this week is David is doing one on how to buy your first house. And it just there's all sorts of things that cover the gamut of anything in anyone's life, and it really was started by someone by a group of people that was outside of my control. And to see this quote unquote tradition of weekly trainings again warms my heart because that's what matters to our team. Yeah. And making sure, and I think it drives retention as well as training and helping them find meaning in whatever they're doing. Great. Sunster, what's your favorite tradition of ITBD?
Yeah, so Kam, our fun dance videos to start with. There are just so many things that we
are famous for those.
Yeah, some people like me, we don't like dancing that much, but you push us, and thank you for that. And I think every person that we talk to during the interviews or internally, when people see that video, is so much fun. The way we do it, we go to Times Square, we go to these cruises, or we go to, like in India, offices. The videos that we create is so much fun, and it's very unique. And it's that community building tradition that with 3 pillars that we talk about, Kam, with internal ITBD community, with our partner community, and our circle of influencers, that strategic partners, those three pillars, and we do something special in those three pillars. With partner community, we take them for a retreat. How many companies are out there, small, medium-sized businesses, where they take their customers with an open invitation and they're like, let's go have fun for a week. And we do that. We call it partner retreat, right? It's so successful and so much fun. And then for our strategic partners, with our Build It initiative, we bring everyone together. And last year, this year we couldn't do it. We had our virtual celebration and everything, but we last year took everyone around Manhattan for the dinner cruise, and that was especially for our strategic partners. Internally, we do quarterly banquets where we have the DJ, we have food, and we have so much fun with people dancing for a couple of hours, and it's 3 a.m. in the morning, where people don't want to go home because they're just having so much fun dancing, and with the DJ, with everything, and doing that on a quarterly basis. So that internal banquets, partner retreat, and cruises type of stuff that we do for our strategic partners, that is so unique to IT by Design, the way I see it.
Little do they know that I'm actually vetting the next video already. So, Jake, maybe you can make a cameo.
Yeah, right.
And with that, I thank you both so much. What a wonderful conversation on culture. Sunny, did you want to say anything?
No, thank you, Jake. Thank you for coming, taking the time to join me today. And I know that you're on your way to Disney, and you're going to have some family time. So I wish you all the best. And thank you so much for this partnership, this friendship.
And yes, thank you so much, Jake. We truly appreciate it. And with that, we're done this episode of Sunny's Silver Linings. Until next time, we look forward to you tuning in. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.